Is the PlayStation handheld already here? And Sony, of course, they want to buy Elden Ring. And in the weirdest question of the week, what is an Xbox? Welcome back to 128KB News. This is your quick bit of gaming news where we catch up in the world of gaming this week in this short news-like video. And yes, it's neither short nor news-like, but let me celebrate first of all by saying, yes, Ghouls and Ghosts are behind us as requested by CV in the comments. If you want to see your game behind you, then let me know down below. But what a week in gaming it's been. Seemingly Sony want to buy Elden Ring and they've just shadow dropped their handheld, kind of amazingly, and Xbox have admitted that their sales suck so badly that they want to turn everything into an Xbox, therefore they win. But let's start with something a bit more sensible, and that is the Game of the Year nominations. They are now open. It's an exciting time of year for us game commentators where we look back on the world of gaming this year, all the big releases, and everyone gets to vote on what their favourite Game of the Year is. Of course, there's a whole host of different categories open for all the different game types, but the big one is the Game of the Year itself. Now, there is some slight frustration from the game community about this, and then this kind of revolves around the inclusion of DLCs or expansions in the Game of the Year. I'm a little bit on the fence as to whether DLCs or expansions to games should be included in the Game of the Year category. Perhaps they need the category all to themselves. I'm kind of unsure on how I feel about it, but of course this surrounds Elden Ring's But of course, this surrounds Elden Ring's Shadow of Erdtree and its inclusion and nomination as Game of the Year. Of course, that is just a DLC. But if we don't allow DLCs, do we not allow remakes too? And if we don't allow remakes, that means that Final Fantasy Rebirth, is that allowed to be included? Because I think that should win Game of the Year. I know I'm totally unbiased. I'm so biased. I'm such a Final Fantasy nerd. It has to win Game of the Year. So if you like me, go and vote for it. But of course, talking of Elden Ring, it moves us on to the next story, and that is that Sony are looking to buy Elden Ring. Well, not Elden Ring itself, but the people that own Elden Ring. There's talks that Sony are looking for a quick acquisition to the main developers and publishers of the game. This has been reported in Reuters that Sony are in talks for the acquisitions of Kadokawa, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry, Kadokawa. Whatever it's called. They're the parent company of FromSoftware, and it's reported that Sony are wanting to raise their stake in the company for full ownership. So they currently own 2% of the company already, but they want to make a full acquisition, and apparently they want to have it done in a matter of weeks. Of course, this is yet another in the long list of the big companies buying out these developers and publishing companies. We sort of see Microsoft seem to have bought half of the gaming world, and Sony want to follow suit. I don't know how I feel about that from the gaming community side of things. Does it actually give us a better experience of gamers? Of course, we had all of the backlash from the Call of Duty release with Microsoft now owning that, and the trouble of that going through the courts and the kind of idea of this big monopoly not actually being better for us as gamers. But it seems like Sony want a piece of the Elden Ring pie and they want it done quickly. Now, if I asked you what is an Xbox, your answer should be that big square thing that looks like a mini fridge in the corner of my room that plays Game Pass. Well, you might not actually be as right as you think, because apparently this is an Xbox, and this is an Xbox, and these are an Xbox, and apparently everything is an Xbox. If you listen to Xbox's latest ad campaign, they seemingly have admitted defeat that their consoles aren't selling as well as PlayStation or Nintendo, and rather than doing something about that, they've doubled down on the idea that Xbox can be anything. Yay. So Xbox's latest ad campaign pushes more into the move of Xbox moving beyond the console. It shows a whole host of different devices that can play Game Pass. We have PCs being shown, tablets, TVs, phones, you name it. If it had a screen and an internet connection, there's probably Game Pass on there. And they're really doubling down on this with this weird new ad campaign that seemingly shows us the entire thoughts and thinking for the future of Microsoft's gaming division. They want Game Pass everywhere. They want Microsoft games everywhere. and it's less about the consoles for them and more about people accessing their games. I guess the only hilarious thing that's been missing from this advert is PlayStation, which, let's face it, Xbox games are there too. Now we have this no red line approach to what Game Pass and Xbox games can be launched onto PlayStation and potentially Nintendo as well. But of course, it's been 6 years since the launch of Xbox Cloud Gaming, and it's an area that's clearly only growing, especially after we've seen the success of Xbox Game Pass on PC and the whole host of PC handhelds that are hitting the market that are really quite fantastic. I mean, myself, I use the Asus ROG Ally X purely as a Game Pass machine, so it's no wonder that really the one area of success that Xbox have had, that they are now doubling down on it. But I don't know what that means for the future of Xbox consoles in general. It feels like another kind of white flag moment. And no Xbox white flag moment is complete with them taking a sly dig at PlayStation on their way down. They can't help themselves. Well, Phil Spencer himself can't help himself as he takes a kind of a sly little dig at PlayStation for their mid-generation updates, saying that it's very hard to see the benefits of mid-generation refresh consoles now, and that Xbox have absolutely no plans to do the same. This was in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Phil Spencer confirming that there is no benefits to a mid-generation update to their consoles, confirming Xbox had no intention to do this and that it's harder for the players to actually see the benefit of it. It is in truth a thin line, but if we look at the PS5 to PS5 Pro and we ignore some of the issues that are happening with certain games on that, there is a marked difference in performance, and I would say that it is a worthy upgrade if you can afford it. Whether it's worth it for you is entirely subjective. You might be having a great time on your PS5 and not see the need to update to the PS5 Pro, but undoubtedly the PS5 Pro is an upgrade for players. Phil Spencer went on to say that they are indeed still working on future Xbox consoles and that it's a big part of their plans going forward, and that they are going to be working on their next generation of consoles and other devices, which is exciting because we all know what that means now. He's kind of confirmed it himself in other interviews that they are indeed working on an Xbox handheld and that that is an integral part of their plans going forward. Whether it's a big part of their plans is a different story altogether. In fact, that kind of sits more in line with what we were talking about a minute ago, with Xbox being everything from your remote control to your mobile phone. And from Xbox going handheld to the biggest story of the week, and that is that PlayStation kind of shadow drop their own handheld, sort of. I am, of course, talking about the PlayStation Portal, which was past tense, the most useless release of all time, and is now suddenly very, very interesting. The thing that all of us players and commentators wanted to see from the Portal has happened. You can now cloud stream on the PlayStation Portal. This is amazing. We now have a PlayStation handheld. And interestingly, we now have the cheapest way possible to access PS5 games. Now that is really quite intriguing. This is a beta update to the PS Portal, so it is going to come with some caveats, some teething problems, and some potential expansions in the future. I only hope that they hold on to this and don't drop it like they have done with some things they've trialed in the past. But let's talk about the specifics of what you can do. There will be, and right now, during the beta, 120 PS5 games available from the PS catalogue that you can cloud stream on your PlayStation Portal. All you need is the Portal, a PlayStation Plus Premium account, and access to the internet. You do not need a PS5 to do this. That is particularly exciting. There are some caveats of what you can and can't do, though. You can't play any of the cloud games that you've purchased. This is just the games that are available in the beta trial. There's no PS4 or PS3 games there yet. You can play up to 1080 at 60 FPS if you have a decent enough internet connection, but you do need a minimum of a 7 megabits connection to get this to work properly. So it does rely on you still having a good internet connection, but it is cloud streaming, so that kind of comes in the territory. There's some notable games included. We do have Spider-Man Miles Morales in there, Ratchet and Clank, and 128KB's favourite, Ghosts of Satsuma. That's in there too. Yes, I said it that way. Believe me. It is a beta program, so of course I'm expecting this to change and maybe disappear for a little bit while they tweak on it. I hope that they hold onto this and expand to it, because it suddenly makes the PlayStation Portable a viable PlayStation handheld device. And as I was saying a second ago, it is actually really interesting because this now becomes the cheapest way to access the PlayStation 5 catalogue that you could possibly get. Suddenly, all you need is a £200 handheld device and a subscription to PlayStation Plus, and you've got access to 120 PlayStation games right now. Obviously, there's no like day one launches like we get with Game Pass. It's not as kind of fully fleshed out as that yet, but you can see where this is going. You can see the trajectory that it is going toe to toe with Game Pass. And if they do manage to do that and actually have a fully fledged system here, it really could be an Xbox killer, because they've just beaten them to the market by just updating the device they already had. It is a masterstroke. Of course, a lot of people want a fully dedicated PlayStation handheld where you can play games locally, an upgrade to the Vita, or a PSPP2. But for now, we're not getting it. We're not getting that. We're getting this, and really, it's the best compromise that we could hope for right now from PlayStation. And it's quite an exciting one, in truth. It did seem like such an easy upgrade. It was what we were all asking for from the portal. And I myself am fully excited, but is it enough to scratch the itch for PlayStation's handheld place in the market? Really, that's up for you to decide. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Me, myself, I'm genuinely excited, but you know by now that I am very easily excited by new and shiny things, and even just an update to something like this can get me really excited. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And whilst you're down there digging around, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, because, well, I need your validation in life, and consider watching another video from us here at 128KB. We're a lovely bunch, and we do absolutely love you being here. Perhaps this one, where me and Andy talk about all things gaming in a podcast. Oh yeah, we have channel memberships open on here now. Hurrah, we reached the goal. YouTube finally let us earn some money from this channel. So if you do like what we do here and you want to support us, please consider joining the channel memberships. You get access to our channel Discord as well, where you can talk to me and Andy about all things gaming. Anyway, until the next time, I'll be here next time, so make sure you come back. I'll see you then.